Hi, you guys. So we're doing Real Housewives of Orange County episode 15 for season 19, Gossip Dump, and there's so much to talk about today. First and foremost, I wanted to let you guys know that I've been 29 days on a non-inflammation diet to try to get my blood work better for my November 5th appointment with my specialist, and I'm totally freaking out and scared, as you guys well know. So tomorrow I go in for my blood work, and hopefully all my hard work is paying off. I do want to show you a picture because I was pretty shocked at what it did to my body to only eat non-inflammatory food. Let me show you. Now, I show you my waist because my waist went in just a month from a 31 to a 28, just from the swelling going down on my body. So I can't wait to tell you more about this, but of course, I'm talking to my doctor first, and I also want to, discuss what I did with him and make sure that he's in agreement with what I did based on my research. But pretty incredible what food does to your body. Here's from the side. So, you literally lose all the swelling on your body. And it is swelling, I found out. I learned so much in this process of being so scared. So anyway, more to come on this, but very excited to share it with you once I speak to my doctor. Anyway, I'm working on muscle training now, plus I'm running like a 30-minute hit run 5 days a week to hit the number. Because it turns out that hit run is like the only thing that really works when you're dealing with what I'm dealing with. And also you have to do 150 minutes a week. It's a lot. And that's not weights either. Pretty amazing experience. But anyway, I'm learning a lot. I'm going to do a show about it at some point to help everybody that wants to learn about this. Because it's like, who knew? I had to wait till 50 to figure this out. So, all right, let's get into the tea. Don't forget, time codes are in the description, which you might want, and like and subscribe and boost. For those of you going to BravoCon 2025, I heard the talent's staying at the Four Seasons Hotel, and the main BravoCon is at Caesars, of course. So a fan caught the Real Housewives of Orange County shooting a scene, and you can make out what they're saying. See what you think. Tamra Judge went to Alexis Bellino's wedding. Oh boy, not very nice to do to her good friend Shannon Beador, who's no longer her good friend and now her enemy, I guess. Anyway, Tamra went to the wedding. I guess Heather Dubrow couldn't make it because she had other plans for her kids with college or something, so couldn't make it. But wow, what a move. So why does Tamra care so much about Alexis Bellino, especially given what happened with her husband back in the day? Well, it would appear it has to do with her show. Let me play you a clip.
We have a very special guest.
One of my dearest friends. Hi. That I never thought would happen.
So we've got Alexis Bellino with us, which we noticed you didn't change your name in your Instagram yet. What's going on?
I would love you to change that last name. It's personal. Let's just start off with the fact that you're married. You got married. And I have to tell you, I don't know if it was the champagne, but I wanted so bad. I haven't even told you this. I so badly wanted, I don't want to cry, get up there and talk to you and toast to you and John.
Of course, okay? I have to ask a guest this question because now here we are. What happened with Heather Dubrow?
Well, you guys are finding out at the same time as I am.
Do you think that she truly had a core, deep relationship with you, or you think it was a TV friendship?
If you would have asked me that 2 weeks ago, a month ago, I would have said I have a true friendship.
Ha ha ha. Are you kidding? Heather Dubrow threw her a bone because of the LGBTQ thing. And, that was on brand for her. So she went with it. And I guarantee Heather Dubrow does not see Alexis Bellino on the same playing field as her. Let's just call it what it is. Even after marrying John Jansen, which would have, I guess, upped her dance card a little bit in the sense of financially. But I'm just saying, like, you're not going to change the way people function in Beverly Hills and OC. They're like this, you know? Heather's not alone in this. Yeah. She's more snooty than you guys think she is. She's coming off really kind of relatable recently, but And did you see the tears she was dropping for Alexis Bellino? So happy she married John Jansen through all this crap. I mean, what a dig at Shannon Beador to do a show about that and say it. I don't know how Shannon films with her. I'd be venomous towards her. You know what I mean? I mean, this is why I would never be good at this job, because I couldn't do the resolution on some of these things. And I certainly couldn't pretend to be, you know, having a great time with somebody who attacks at that level. You know what I'm saying? No way. Leslie Bedor, who is unhinged, and so is David Bedor, in my humble opinion, she posted this for Halloween, and she was like, you know, I needed a last minute Halloween costume. So she posts this, and the fans are confused. They're like, are you trying to be considered for the Real Housewives of Orange County and like plant a seed with producers that you would like to come on the show? David? Could be. Another thing fans wondered, is she making fun of Shannon Beador, David Bedor's ex-wife and the mother of his children, you know, from his first marriage? I don't know. But it was really strange, and it was posted pretty far in advance for Halloween. So I doubt highly it was her actually doing a Halloween costume. So you guys should think about this for a minute. This must upset Shannon to no end, especially given how unhinged these two are. Ew. So the seating chart dropped last week for the Real Housewives of Orange County, and this is what it looked like. A lot of people were surprised to see Jennifer Pedranti in the first seat and not Katie Ginella, since it was really her that brought the most amount of drama and, you know, created the most polarizing effect on the fans. I guess this is a sign that, you know, Katie is still in the doghouse for some reason. Gretchen was at the end. That's to be expected because, you know, it's her first season back in. Shannon and Heather didn't really bring that much drama this season, so I guess that's why they find themselves there. Although I think kind of unfair after the last 2 seasons of drama that Shannon Beador brought and how long she's been on the franchise, to put her at that spot. It really upset me and a lot of fans that Gina and Emily were in second spot, because all they did was shit stir, and, you know, none of the shit stirring involved their personal drama. So, like, that's easy to do. It's not easy to have your stuff being talked about, you know, in a negative way. So there was that. And then, of course, Tamra's at the front because Bravo realizes now that they need Tamra, and she's got her pulse on the fans and the gossip because of her podcast. So they kind of, I think, use her a little bit as a producer now in a way. I'm just going to say it. And Jennifer Pedranti in the first seat's confusing to me. I'm thinking they didn't know who else to put there because Jennifer and Tamra didn't really have that massive of a clash. It was just like an undertone all season, although we did get a really nice insight into Jennifer Pedranti's life. Speaking of her,
The first letter from Dawson. I hope. I hope. It is.
So a little update on Jennifer Pedranti's son, who's in the Marines. He just finished boot camp and wrote her a letter, and it was really hard. So she said this about the letter. So he's been there 3 weeks now in boot camp, and last week I got my first letter, which was literally like heaven on earth, she explained at the time. He's doing great. Wait, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. It was funny. He's like, I'm writing to you even though I'm not supposed to be. And then he said, I haven't slept in 40 hours. It's really hard, Mom. I'm a bit homesick, she detailed. Although this was a bit hard for Jen to read, Dawson assured her that things were going well. But then he says, I know as you read this, you're freaking out. And things are going okay. People like to romanticize the military and war and all this stuff. And if you talk to real soldiers that have been put through it, you know, war or training, it's no joke. It's not romantic. It's hard as F. And that's why they deserve so much respect. It's nothing like even training. Like if you talk to a vet about war, they'll be like, training does not get you ready for war, period. Like it's not enough. You have no idea. And, you know, my son wanted to join the military, and every vet we talked to tried to talk him out of it. Thus why you should say thank you for your service whenever you see a military person and or a vet, just saying. And I always petition everybody I can to try to increase their benefits because it's so unfair for what they go through, what they get. Katie Ginella made it sound like she didn't have any more confessional video looks that were going to be shown, although she had selected them or even been shot in them. This was one that she had picked out from Tom Ford. And she said, as you can see in the caption, the almost Tom Ford confessional look, needing a moment, is a beautiful dress. So there it is, her moment. Okay, so let's get into the recap, even though we already know what's coming up the rest of the season. So we begin the show at ground zero. Oddly, everybody was fighting the night before or a few days before, and now no one's fighting at the moment. And Shannon Beador is throwing a kind of pretend bridal shower luncheon for Jen Pedranti because Jen is going to get married someday, and they still haven't set the date even now. But it's going to happen. So Shannon does this luncheon and the women all give their best advice in relationships. It was actually quite good advice. Heather said, don't let, the chitter chatter affect your relationship that people make. Shannon said, communication is really important. And then the other women chimed in with different things. Don't lose yourself in the relationship. And that was it. Nobody mentioned not losing your chemistry, though, which makes me wonder if any of them were currently having sex with their men. But just saying, that would have been my number one. Don't lose the chemistry. Don't lose it. Anyway, or have it in the first place. Money can't buy you chemistry. All right. So they do all this and Jen seems to listen. And then they talk about where they want to go. And they come up with Amsterdam, mainly because the producers told them to, but they pretend it's because Shannon wants to go see her daughter and her daughter's over there going to raves and stuff. And the other women just don't care and want to go to Europe. And we find out that Heather Dubrow's parents lived there for 15 years. So we find out that Heather Dubrow is going to bury her dad's ashes when he's back in Amsterdam. There he is with Heather. And we learn that his name was Conrad and her name was Carol. And he was a corporate guy. And Heather had a very kind of cold relationship with him. But her mom is very different. And so it's kind of a little bit of a story there. Anyway, she's going to bury his ashes in the water in Amsterdam. Here's another picture. So then we jump to a scene with Travis and Gina's like, I'm really glad we came back together under one house and the kids are really happy now. And then we find out he's still having problems with the ex-wife. And Gina was like, I'm glad we keep working through it and we just need to know it's always going to be there and we're a good partnership and let's just, be happy with what we've got. So she's done a whole, circle on that. And then she talks about how Travis was so desperate to see his kid that he became a volunteer at his school and helped with basketball or something. And then the kid got reacclimated to his dad again after probably, the bad mouthing and all that happening. And so then the kid started to want to see his dad again and it kind of brought the family all back together. So Gina was really grateful for that. And then we jump to a scene with Tamra Judge and Eddie. And it's a weird scene. She's not drinking alcohol and she's kind of abrasive with him. And, they talk about how she needs to communicate better and ask for help. And, she also shouldn't drink in their relationship because it's toxic to their, fighting and stuff like that. And she's like, it's never going to happen. But then, she kind of warms up at the end of the conversation and that's it. And then they talked about maybe moving out of state and all the women in OC were like, do it, do it, do it. But we know she won't. And then there was a scene with Jennifer Pedroni and Ryan Boyajian. And Ryan is, like, you need to send me a dirty video of you from Amsterdam. And you can tell, like, Jen is into Ryan still. But I do sense her reservations that she's talking about on this show. And I think, I don't know what she's saying to him. Like, I have to have a storyline, so I'm going to say these things. But I do feel like she's genuinely having them. So the women get on a JetBlue flight that's definitely a promo, and they fly first class all the way 13 hours to Amsterdam, and they go into the Berger Central hotel where they're staying, and they all get their individual rooms. And then for some reason, which we didn't really get to see, they're dressed like prostitutes. Don't know why. Even Emily has this weird tight slit dress down her entire body, and she has a giant black and blue on her leg that you can see clearly through the holes. And I'm just like, oh my God, why? Why? So the women get on a boat. And they drive by Heather Dubrow's dad's house. There it is there. And she said that, maybe he felt free, which is why he ended up in Amsterdam. And it was like a great part of his life. And so she starts to get, I guess, an understanding of her dad a little while she's there. And then the women are pulling in to go back to their hotel, and they start to fight. Tamra and Shannon, started by Emily. Emily's like, did you mean to drag Shannon's dad with the alcoholic comment? And Tamra's like, no. And Emily's like, can you move on, Shannon? And she's like, no, I can't. Not on that. No, I won't forgive her. I don't want to be friends with Tamra anymore. And Tamra's being like a real bitch, and she calls her a see you next Tuesday again, because Shannon's like, it's hard to interact with you. And that's pretty much the scene. So Shannon, Heather, and Gina go to buy, pot and baking goods with pot in it. And then Shannon gets stoned, and she's kind of funny because she's stoned. And Shannon starts to say like, Tamra and I are never going to be friends or close or whatever. And they're trying to kind of sway her in a way, and she's not having it. And then we jump to the other women, Emily, Tamra, and Jen, and they're decorating penises at this woman's shop with like glitter and stuff. And, what Emily and Tamra are trying to plant in Jennifer's head is that Shannon is using her because she's anti-Tamra. And she also has linked herself with Gretchen, which kind of shows that pattern. And Jennifer talks about how she's still friendly with Alexis Bellino, but she's not going to go to her wedding because it would really piss off Shannon. But she wants to still have her as a friend. Now, this ties into the gossip I told you earlier in the show, because Heather Dubrow was listening to this whole conversation. And of course, she, although invited to Alexis Bellino's wedding and friends with Alexis Bellino, she doesn't go and makes up an excuse not to go. And now we see why. It's going to be pretty apparent that Shannon isn't going to be close with those people. So Heather prioritizes Shannon over Alexis Bellino. So this is the kind of game playing we're seeing now strategy-wise with the different women, and no further mention of the Katie Ginella meeting with Tamra. So the women all end up at Sirens, and they have a funny night. Shannon's high as a kite. She ate too much space cake. And the women are kind of getting along and being silly together for once. And so that's it. And they tease next week there's going to be problems. Oh, big surprise. All right, you guys, we'll talk soon. Hope you liked today's video.